Hi, and welcome to Philosophy According to Eddie. We're carrying on with the ancient Greek theme in looking at Aristotle. Now, Aristotle was a student of Plato. He was around from 384 to 322 BCE. A lot of his writings were very extensive. There was a huge number of different themes covered, different ideas. But the problem was that until about the 12th century, they all were lost, and they haven't been preserved as well as Plato's writing, which is a shame, because actually Aristotle is a very influential thinker on the Western world. Interestingly though, for a pupil of Plato, he believed completely different ideas about epistemology, about the theory of knowledge, how we know things to exist, and in terms of the nature of reality. Aristotle was an empiricist, focused on the a posteriori knowledge, i.e. the knowledge that we can observe through the senses. Much less interested in rational knowledge. See the Plato video if you're not sure about what I mean by that. And as such, he took a completely different tack to Plato. One of his famous lines was per genus et per differentia, i.e. by type and by difference. In English, we know what things are because they have different types and they are different to each other. So that's how you work out what things are. So his idea of knowledge is very much based on what we can observe. We can observe things, therefore they exist. Any observation that we make suggests that things exist, so we should accept that as fact. His main ways of explaining this are through the four causes arguments and the prime mover argument. So, Aristotle believes in empiricism, knowing the world through observation. Knowledge, therefore, does not come from within us, like Plato would suggest. Instead, we gain knowledge by looking at the world and understanding it. Famously, Aristotle worked out that an eclipse was caused by the Earth moving in front of the moon moving between the Earth and the Sun, or by the Earth itself moving in front of the Sun. By working out that the Earth moves in front of the Sun and the shadow is cast across our field of vision, therefore the Earth must be spherical. That kind of inference of knowledge. And it turned out he was right. So the eclipse is a famous example of Aristotle working it out through observation. Now, Aristotle was very interested in causes, what causes change to happen. Change being very important. You may remember from the previous video, Heraclitus, talking about changes. For example, a man will not step into a river the same river twice, and when he steps out, he will not be the same man, or there or thereabouts. The idea being that everything's changing, and change is a really big issue for a lot of philosophers. What is change? Why is it happening? What happens at the moment of change? David Hume, much later on, into the Enlightenment period, which we'll come to later, discusses change and is very interested by it. Aristotle thinks about cause and effect. So the causes for objects being the way that they are, the effects being what we can observe. And he figures that by observing them we can figure out the causes. And he comes up with the idea of four causes: the material, the formal, the efficient, and the final. Now the idea of these four causes is that they all create the final product. Let's give the example of a table. Material cause. Okay, a table is made of, let's say, wood. Then the material is wood. So the material cause is wood. You couldn't have the table if the wood wasn't there. Therefore, it causes the table to exist. So the material cause, the wood. Formal cause. Now this is the design, the blueprint, if you like. You can have a pile of wood, but until someone designs the table, that causes that wood to move towards being a table. This is the idea of motion. So, material, it moves towards being a table with the plan. Efficient. This is the person that makes it. So this is the carpenter, in this case, who puts the wood together to the design. So we've gone wood, design, and now we've moved forward again to actually building the thing. Now, at that point, you think, oh yeah, there we go, table, built, great. Well, it needs a final cause, it needs a purpose. Now, purpose we might think of as being an effect. We have it, so we use it. But actually, Aristotle argued that a purpose is a cause. You design something or you build something because you need it. You need a final cause for it. You need a table, so you build a table. So the final cause is that you can then put stuff on the table and it will support it. No good, the table collapses. So the causes go like that. They go material, then it's designed in the formal cause, then it's built in the efficient cause, and then in the final cause it actually does its job. You could say the same about, for example, a sandwich. Take the bits of bread and filling, have an idea of what it is you want to make, put it together. Does it taste good? Yeah. Does it fill you? Yeah. It's a sandwich. But then what about people? This is where it becomes a bit more interesting. Okay, material, well, okay, we're made of flesh and blood and various other things. That's our material cause. Right, formal. Where's the design here? Where's the blueprint? Aristotle would say it's the soul. But actually, our soul is our blueprint. It's almost like a frame to hang ourselves on. Efficient. How are we made? Now, this is important. It's not God that makes us. Not in Aristotle's book. This is very different to the Judeo-Christian Islamic God, the Abrahamic God. It's not God who creates us, it's our parents. They're the efficient cause. It's the final cause that's God. The purpose of humanity, the purpose of people being on this earth, living good ethical lives, the purpose is God. Because Aristotle understands God to be different. He understands God to be a different creature, and one that he refers to as the prime mover. Aristotle's idea, therefore, of the God that is the prime mover links in to the idea of change again. God is the final cause. God is perfect. And God and the world are co-eternal. So it's an eternal God that causes humanity and is perfect. Okay, so far very much like the Abrahamic religions. However, God is actually a perfect being, therefore is pure thought and is not material. God exists in its own realm and does not actually have any link to the material world. There's no point praying, there's no point making petitionary prayers to God because it can't hear you. It's in a different realm. In fact, it doesn't even care. It's not interested in anything that it's caused. It's just carrying on. It's like a stone that's been thrown into a pond causing ripples. However, unlike a stone being thrown into a pond, the prime mover actually attracts all things towards it. It's like a black hole. It's drawing things in towards it. So the prime mover is always moving, always shifting, and things are being drawn towards it like a magnet. So it's pulling everything along with it. It's not linked to our world, but the material things will follow it. And us as humans, we will follow the prime mover. And it creates constant change. Now, what Aristotle's doing here is explaining constant change. Whereas Plato and Heraclitus are trying to avoid explaining it. Like Plato with his forms, trying to find a way around change, trying to find a way of not dealing with the problem. Aristotle tries to explain it. So, in terms of explaining reality and understanding a reality where things do change, that's a big strength. However, there are objections to both Plato and Aristotle. And that's going to be the subject of the next video, where we're going to compare Plato and Aristotle, the great rationalist versus the great empiricist, look at the objections to both of their theories. This will underpin a lot of the other philosophy that we do. So if you've got any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.